Hey guys, my name's Shanae Joy, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the movie Coach Carter and the 3 different social issues surrounding sports that I found to be depicted throughout this movie and what that means for athletes in the real world. So to start off, just a quick movie overview. The movie talks about Ken Carter coming back to his old high school in a rundown part of California to become the new head basketball coach of a team that is very disrespectful, unruly, they lack discipline, and they also have not won any of their games. So upon doing this, Coach Carter creates a contract that is to be signed by all his players if they wish to play, and it states that they must maintain a 2.3 grade point average, as well as attend all practices on time, dress up before games, and be very respectful to one another. Upon seeing these contracts, all of them assign except one player, Timon Cruz. He walks off. Coach Carter lets him walk off because he knows it is their choice whether they wish to play, and so he begins his practices with an emphasis on respect and discipline. And if one of the players were to mouth off, he has them run sprints, and the practices are very structured, and they go through the different offensive and defensive sets that they'll be learning to help their gameplay and to hopefully win games. And about halfway through their preseason practices, Timon Cruz comes back asking to rejoin after he witnesses his drug-dealing cousin shot dead on the street in front of him. Coach Carter agrees that he may rejoin if he can complete a set amount of push-ups and sprints by a certain deadline. When this deadline rolls around, Timon has not completed his sets of push-ups and sprints, thus Coach Carter refuses his rejoining of the team. But the teammates see this and they state that they have been preached about how a team struggles together and wins together, so they start to pick up the sets and reps that Timon has not finished. Eventually, with the help of his teammates, Timon has completed his rep and Coach Carter allows him to come back onto the team. So their season kicks off and they are winning games back to back and really starting to show an improvement of their play. And with this, Coach Carter decides that he needs to check on their progress and finds that they have not met their GPA marks. As a result, he shuts down the gym and stops their season because they are not upholding their contracts. The school board overrules this decision and tells Coach Carter that he cannot stop their season, and they reopen the gym. However, his players choose not to go back to their season yet until their grades are up. So, once their grades are up, Coach Carter and his team return to finish with an undefeated season and advance to the regional finals. However, the movie ends with them losing in the regional finals, but at the end it shows blurbs where some of the players end up going to college on scholarships and getting good jobs after their high school is over. So some of the social issue examples from the movie are when the athletes decide to focus on their academics before playing again, as their coach has wanted, because they see that he wants the best for them. The next is when Timon Cruz asks to rejoin the basketball team after he sees his cousin get shot in front of him. And the last is when Coach Carter creates contracts stating they must uphold a 2.3 GPA average and will not let them play if they fail to maintain this. So the first example of the team choosing to do their academics like their coach wants shows how coaches can be a positive role model in athletes' lives. An athlete will go through many different coaches in their lives, and they will meet those who are deemed a good coach and those who are deemed a bad coach. As in the movie Coach Carter is a good coach because he teaches them respect for themselves and others, as well as he inspires athletes to better themselves as people on and off the court. He checks in with them outside of practice to make sure their home life is good and nothing is going on that may be upsetting them or there are any personal issues they're dealing with. He offers them a hand to help. And he also is invested in their career and the person they are becoming and wants to truly see them succeed. While on the other hand, there are people who are considered bad coaches because they prioritize winning at all costs and have no regard for the athletes unless they are winning. They will push them past their limits if it means they can win. They're not invested in them outside of the game, and they do not teach them respect for others. Instead, they teach them to win at all costs, which can lead to cheating and being very disrespectful to others on the court. The next example deals with Timon Cruz, and that shows how a lot of people will use sports to cope with things that go on outside of their lives. For Timon, he turned back to basketball because once he saw what happened to his cousin, he realized he did not want his life to go down that same path. So for many, sports become a safe haven for these adolescents, and it helps them to stay off the streets and occupy their free time after they're done with school with positive influences instead of drugs and alcohol and gangs. As well, sports allow them to have a positive outlet for when their emotions are all over the place. They can just go and shoot some hoops or run some drills instead of going around and causing more violence or hurting themselves or others. So this showed how sports are more than just playing a game. It's a coping mechanism for many adolescents that helps them to be positive in their life when things may not always be the best. The last example talked about the contracts that Coach Carter has them sign to maintain their GPA. He emphasizes the word student and student athlete and points out that sports will come to an end for many of these kids and that he does not want to see them end up on the street. Instead, he wants to see many of them going to college and making a future for themselves. So he emphasizes how you need to balance your outside life with your sports. And for many athletes, they may rely solely on just their sports to get them places. And this can all come to an end if they sustain a career-ending injury. And so it's important to have a backup plan when your sports don't end, because sports will not continue through your whole life. They will always have an end. So it's important to know what you're going to do when those sports do come to an end and be okay with your life without an end. So in conclusion, Coach Carter puts an emphasis on the student and student athlete. This movie also emphasizes how sports are a coping mechanism and not just a game people play for fun. They can have a deeper meaning to keeping kids off the street. And as well, it emphasizes how coaches are much more than a coach to many adolescents. They are a positive role model in their life who inspire them to be better. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.